I can tell if and what people want to talk about, especially now. I'm going to sneeze.
You're going to sneeze right now? Okay. Go for it. Think about it. Place it.
I don't want to lose it. They're like mini orgasms.
Oh, all right.
Did you know that?
Yeah, I mean, I believe it.
You got to look at a light. You stare at a light.
I'm
and that's
staring at a
supposed
light,
to...
Brett.
Go. All right, come on. This is a big
Nope,
moment.
it's gone.
This is the one moment that probably went viral on the show.
It's gone. It's gone.
Yeah.
It's gone.
Well, you blew
Because I
it.
talked about it.
Blah, blah, blah. With Katee Sackhoff.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Blah, Blah, Blah with Katee Sackhoff. I am Katee Sackhoff, and this is our hindsight episode with Sam Witwer. And I am joined by the lovely Christian Harloff.
I am lovely. Very nice. Thank you so much.
Hi.
Yeah.
This is weird.
Back again.
We're back.
We can be honest with people.
Yeah.
We didn't know what the hell was going to happen because we thought the strike would potentially go into next year.
I mean, listen, technically the strike is still going on.
Yeah, we're playing into the future as if it's over, remember?
Yeah, so we are. But like in the sense that that the writers have settled. They've gotten their deal. We're still working on the actors. I'm a little like peeved that the actors like in solidarity went down and they're like, let's strike with the writers. Let's help them out. And then the writers settle and the actors are like, bye guys, thanks. I guess you guys are back at work. Cool. We'll just be over here.
They know though the whole point. They know the whole thing. The studios knew they had to take care of the actors. They knew it. They knew it. And the only reason that people are watching this right now is because the strike is over. Because otherwise it's going to live in a can.
It's true.
Yeah.
But we're the strike is over. I'm putting out into the world that we got everything that we're owed.
Yes.
And we're back.
We're back. And we were talking about it and how we were going to say, once the strike is over, we have so many episodes, great episodes in the can right now. So people know, and you'll make announcements about it because we pre-taped a lot of episodes.
We
Ones you're going to say, yeah.
So it's going to be a little strange because we've got, once this airs, Glenn will have aired.
Yep.
His hindsight.
Yep.
Sam will have aired.
Yep.
And then this. So this episode right now is a month after the strike.
Yeah.
Basically.
Right. And then we have you want to give them after, I guess it's after AJ's episode, as we've already announced in the live show. AJ McLean is coming out. Something kind of big is going to happen as far as this look goes.
Yeah. We moved studios.
Yeah.
We moved to a different studio. It's not that I loved Katie's Corner.
Yeah. The hindsight episodes will still, from time to time, be here.
They'll be here. Yeah. But the main episodes, and part of the problem was because it's hotter than balls in California.
It was. Not anymore. Now it's finally, now it's finally nice.
But it's so hot in California. And our guest was right under the air conditioner.
Yeah.
And we tried so hard to counteract that and to do whatever we could. Poor Brett was constantly like pulling his hair out, trying to fix it.
He literally went all the way to Home Depot and bought a portable air conditioner, put in the corner.
Yes.
And I think it was like the next day. It was like, yeah, we're going to move studios now.
It was the next day. But that was Kwan's episode.
Yeah.
Because I was still so hot. I was so hot in here.
Yeah.
And I realized that I'd gotten through Kwan's episode, which is the next one we'll do. And I was so hungover that the hangover didn't hit me until like halfway through his interview.
Wow.
And that's when it hit me.
Yeah.
And so I think that's why the heat was really bothering me that day.
The studio, though, that we got is awesome. I can't wait for people to say the guests that we got are awesome.
Yeah.
But we do have, these 4 episodes that were still here with Glenn that just aired, and then Sam. So I guess
Sam.
Yeah,
so we're talking about Sam.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Sam. I've been friends with Sam since Battlestar, like 20 years. But you've had Sam on your show a lot too.
Yeah, Sam was the Star Wars Schmodown trivia champion of the world. He was great. He was one of the first guys to do it. He also helped us out, and he was a guest on the trivia Schmodown Star Wars Celebration in 2016 or 2017 in Orlando. So yeah, I've got a chance. Him and Freddie did something with us, and he'd been on Jedi Council a couple different times. So he was he's about as big of a geek as I am, certain things. But he's also like a fan of yours as much as he is as a friend. You can tell inside of the interview that.
Yeah, no, and that's, I mean, one of the things that I wrote down that it just still gets me about Sam is how good he is at maintaining relationships and friendships and following up with people that he's worked with and being appreciative of other people's work. And it really sort of like ingratiates him. Is that the right word?
Could be.
Ingratiates? Are we making words up again?
Go with it. You didn't make it up last time.
Yeah, it ingratiates him with people. Okay, guys, let me know. You're going to let me know. Fingers crossed that that's a real word. But in the sense that people are so appreciative of him in hindsight or in retrospect because he's appreciative of them. So it's this sort of like, dual appreciation thing that happens, but he follows up with people he's worked with. Part of his relationships with Star Wars, I believe, and the reason he's been in this world so much is because he follows up with people that he works with.
Look at that story that he had about Starkiller and how it all came about. The fact that the guy called him and said that that it just happened that the character kind of looked like him, and he's like, oh, wow. And he kept up these conversations and he still maintains these relationships, as you were saying. And even when he was talking about the stuff with Filoni and how he would never be like, hey, when are you going to get me in that show? And it's more like, I'm just so appreciative of it. And I'm there talking about it. He talked about how Filoni's wife, and you talked, the conversation he had with him. But we recorded that episode even before Ahsoka had even aired, because I would have been like, you gotta ask him if he's in the show, and then it turned out a rumor that he was the Inquisitor. He wasn't. But it would have been an interesting conversation to have.
It would have been. I mean, Sam, though, we still don't know what the thing was.
Oh, Ron Moore.
With Ron Moore.
Yeah.
I have made it my mission to be like a gnat on Ron Moore. Because now I am really offended that I'm like the only person from Battlestar who's never worked for him a second time.
Oh, wow.
I mean, Nikki Klein, but you know, she had some issues.
I don't know enough about that.
You don't know anything about Nikki Klein?
No, I guess it's another episode. But
it's another episode. We should have Nikki Klein on. I think we're at a point where we can probably get Nikki on. Okay. Yeah, she was caught up in that whole Nexium thing.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, but anyway, I digress. I feel like it's time that I work with Ron. So we don't know what he was talking about.
No, and you probably, if off the record, you probably could get him to tell you.
I don't think so.
You don't think you can get him to tell you? I think if you, I don't know. I think if you asked him, you said you wouldn't say anything, and then I'd bother you about.
I don't know. I think if I called him right now and asked him, he'd be like, "Oh, I can't tell you, man."
On the phone, probably not.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm saying if you ran into him somewhere, like at a convention or something. Like,
well, yeah, maybe. I mean, this is it's one of the reasons we moved from Los Angeles. I was like, you want me to drive the hour and a half to his house? It's like 8 miles away.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. No, I mean, maybe he would tell me. I still don't think he would. I think he respects Ron Moore so much that he would be worried that it would like in some way disrespect him.
It goes to that loyalty thing you're talking about. Yeah, for sure. And he's, what the thing is with Sam is that he's got like this, he has just like, even when he's talking and he's got a smile on his face, he carries like this intensity with him. Yeah. And it's not like an intimidating intensity. It's just like an intensity. Like you take him serious. He could be talking about like putting together a Lego. Yeah. It's in the way that he does it. He's talking about it, and you're just like, whoa. But
he does it all with so much, like you said, like seriousness and like drama. Did you see today? It was just announced. I mean, not just announced, but their D&D, their new book, just came out today.
Oh, that's funny.
So they have like these companion books. I think that's what they're called. I'm probably disrespecting it by making it so simple, but. To Dungeons and Dragons because he's such a massive fan and he's so smart that he and his partner have literally written, like his writing partner have written these Dungeons and Dragons encyclopedias.
You could say, well, it doesn't surprise me. Like I said, when I mentioned the trivia thing with him, the amount of knowledge that he's able to store in there is crazy. He's like an X-Men. It's crazy how he's able to do it. But I'll tell you, it wasn't the most... As much as I guess maybe because I've heard him talk about this stuff before, it wasn't the most fascinating thing in that interview as I was sitting over there. Do you know what was?
What?
His conversation about going to Juilliard.
Yes.
And how he just was like, you could tell the way that he was looking at certain teachers and the way that they were speaking. He didn't respond to a lot of it. And it was in a way that I thought he broke it down really, really well.
Yeah, I found it interesting that he and Glenn had a similar experience with Juilliard and the way that they sort of understood Juilliard to be, but that each one of them, it affected them differently, it seems. You know, Sam was very, I mean, he didn't finish. He left, right?
Right.
And Glenn finished.
Yeah.
You know, he stuck in there and he did it. Sam was like, not
Sam's
worth
got
it.
that rebel thing about him.
He does, and he's always had that.
Yeah.
He's always had that, like there is a part of Sam that I feel like Sam was that kid that you know, wore like a black coat, like cloak to school and was like a little
Neo.
like, just a little strange.
Yeah, yeah.
He's that kid. He's that like, I don't give a fuck. I'll
he's
make
thinking
it regardless.
in the corner. You don't know what it's. He's not like one of those kids. You're just like, there's nothing going on in that kid's head. He's he's always thinking. You can tell like he's got a lot going on in there.
Well, and respect and kindness go a long way with Sam. Not that they don't with Glenn either, but with Sam, he leads with kindness. Like that is his thing, and it goes a long, long way.
Yeah, he seems a little guarded at times, you know, in the way that, not with you, but just kind of like the way he is. That's why I thought it was like you could tell he wanted to talk to you.
Yeah,
like he liked talking to you, and that was the most stressful interview that we've done today.
Why?
Because Brett wasn't here, and I had the camera that kept shorting out.
That's right.
So
I couldn't figure out why you were running. That's right. You kept getting up. And I was like, what is happening?
Driving me bananas. So like people might realize in that if they go back and watch it now, you'll see a couple times where, and because I don't even think you'll be able to completely get like this, like for a split second, it'll go black. And it's like, hit the button. And it was stressing me out. I was running around the place. You guys were still able, I never once said, guys, we got to take a break. Because that drives me nuts when that happens. You can't always stop it. But I was like, it almost happened.
Well, you've cut together the episode. Did you put like pictures over it or something like that? Did you have to? Did you find a way to cut around it?
I mean, as much as I could.
Yeah,
as much as I could.
It was really funny because we have had, you know, on your set, which is right here, right there.
Yeah, it was Brett.
There's never, every time I've been here, there's never an issue.
No.
Never an issue. No. You move over to the corner. It's constant.
And it's such a cute little set. I can't tell you that when I have guests over here, people are always like, "Oh my God, like what set is that?" And then I tell them like, "That's Katee's set." And they're like, "That's the cutest thing ever." And somebody actually recognized it. Someone's
really?
Like, "Oh, that's Katie's set." That's what you. I was like, "Yeah." So it was like,
"Oh my gosh, that's so funny." Don't tell them it's a lemon.
It's like it isn't right now. It isn't right now. That's the whole like.
Right now, it's great because there's no air conditioner and Brett's here.
From October until March, this is the shit.
October to March,
and then it's over.
Yeah, it's true.
It's over. Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
Like you said about Sam being guarded, there is very little about Sam's private life,
right,
that anybody really knows.
Yeah, I was going to ask you if you were going to go into, because you know that. There's a controversial thing, not necessarily with him, but people he was involved with in the past. And
really?
Yeah, there's some stuff that went down that he's talked about, but I was like, I don't know if she's going to go there. If she
I didn't even know.
Yeah, it was like one of those things. I was like, I didn't know if it was even going to get to that point. But yeah, that was the only time I've ever heard about his personal life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I've never known anything about Sam's personal life, really. He keeps it all very, very tight to the chest. And there are certain people like that when you know they're fiercely private like that, there are, especially when they're friends.
Yeah.
I'm not having them on my show to be like, have an I gotcha moment. Right. You know what I mean? Right. Like I can tell if and what people want to talk about, especially now. I'm going to sneeze.
You're going to sneeze right now? Okay. Go for it. Think about it. Place it.
I don't want to lose it. They're like mini orgasms.
Oh, all right.
Did you know that?
Yeah, I mean, I believe it.
You got to look at a light. You stare at a light.
I'm
and that's
staring at a
supposed
light,
to.
Brett.
Go. All right, come on. This is a big
Nope,
moment.
it's gone.
This is the one moment that probably went viral on the show.
It's gone. It's gone. Yeah. It's gone.
Well, you blew it.
Because I talked about it.
I guess you didn't.
It's true.
Yeah. Almost.
What else? Oh, one of the things I wanted to talk about with Sam, because, every once in a while we talk about a work thing.
Yeah.
And we don't explain what it is.
Okay.
So we talk about sizzle reels.
Yeah.
At one point.
Yeah.
And I don't know if people really know what a sizzle is. So a sizzle reel is like a short video that you put together as like a pitch sort of selling tool.
Show what it is.
To show what a project is. So a sizzle reel will be, I'm guesstimating here, anywhere from probably like 2 minutes to like 5 minutes or something like that.
Yeah.
It's basically like a shortened version of the project to get people either to buy it, to invest in it, to sell it, want more, anything like that. So you will sometimes do, pilots, which is the first episode. We've explained this, where it's the first episode that a studio will actually pay for to see if it's good. And sometimes they don't want to do the whole pilot episode because they can be $9 million. And they'll be like, well, for $2 million, we could do a pilot presentation or like a sizzle.
Right.
And so they'll do the lesser to see if it's actually worth it.
Yeah. So for people, that's good. I think that's kind of one of the main reasons we do this show, right? When we listen back and we go, oh, that might be a little too inside baseball. Maybe it isn't. Maybe some people know or not, but I like the fact that we explain it. I will say, though, jumping back to the Star Wars stuff, that it is crazy to me, though, that Sam has not been a live action character inside of it. I know he's never going to reach out to Dave. I know he's never going to reach out to anybody and ask for it, but it's crazy that he hasn't been in it yet.
There are certain people that you see doing a lot of voiceover work that are phenomenal actors. And Sam is one of those people that, for whatever reason, and it could very well be that he's just too close to it. You know what I mean? Like, he's just too close to it. He's too good of friends with the powers that be. I don't know. And I do agree with him that you don't want to bite the hand that feeds you. And, you don't want to disrespect your friendships where, you're like, this is my friend. I've been allowed to come and play in this world. And I would do the same with Filoni. I'm not going to call him up or John and ask them if I can be in another project. Right. If it happens, it happens. But I would never want to make them feel that I don't respect their creative sort of instincts, their creative journey, their creative story arc that they're already going with in some way that I am saying I know better than you and I should be in this.
Sure. I just think the fans have pretty much screamed out to get Sam when we're in live action.
They have. And I think Sam is a fantastic actor. Yeah. And I think Sam has been a massive, massive part of the Star Wars universe. And I think that he would translate beautifully into live action. Yeah. But it's one of those, like, I never know what's going to work, what's not going to work. I don't know why they had me do it. I could probably on paper tell you why. Yeah. But at the same time, it would have been just as easy to recast Bo.
Sure. But I think that you were in a very different position than a lot of other people, because when you got cast as the voice, you were already established in live action.
And in that type of genre work and in that type of character work, like I say to people all the time, because they talk a lot about the Ashley and the Ahsoka and the Rosario of it all. And, the easiest answer for that I always give people is that I can't talk and reference that situation. But what I can say is I can talk about myself, and I can say that for me, I've been out for the last 15 years playing characters that are very similar to bo-katan. And so it allowed the powers that be to not have to use that much imagination to see me in the role. And it just makes the decision that much easier, I think, when someone's like, oh, we know that she can do this. Not Katee's been off doing romantic comedies in a corset for the last 15 years. Do you think she can play tough characters? That question never had to go into their mind, you know?
Yeah. And I think that with Sam, my prediction that I think he's going to be, and he didn't say this to us at all, trust me, but I think he's going to be in Filoni's movie. If I was to guess. That's my guess. I think he'll show up in the same way. Like I think Greg Grunberg's a really good.
Has Filoni's movie been? Oh yeah, it has been. It has been.
Announced?
It's been confirmed. Yeah, it was announced.
Oh yeah, it's supposed to come out the end of 2016. But like in the same way,
2016.
Yep, 2016. They're going to go back in time and they're going to release it in 2016, 2026. And then Greg Grunberg, who is a good actor, he's in all of J.J. Abrams' movies because they're best friends. He's in all of them in the same way that
he and that lens flare.
they show up. That's the deal. You got to have a lens flare and you got to have Greg Grunberg. That's the deal that comes with it. But no, with Sam, you know, I thought it was a really like I minus the running around trying to fix the cameras. I really enjoyed the conversation because, like I said, I had heard anytime Sam comes in, he's very thoughtful and he's intense and he's engaged in the conversation. But I had never really seen the two of you guys sit down and talk. So it was great to see. You know, I think it'd be great for people to kind of geek out and watch bo-katan talking to Starkiller, but it's also watching the real conversation between the two people who bring these characters to life.
Yeah, I you know, Sam's fantastic, and like I said, he's such a seasoned actor, and he is so trained. You know, I always love working with actors that are classically trained. Because I find myself sort of watching the way that they do things. And Sam is really interesting. Yeah. It's funny to me that he thinks that I was the professional one on Battlestar.
I remember when he said that. Yeah. You shed on yourself too much, to be honest.
I do. I mean, I know that I do, but I was also a child. I was 22 years old when we were shooting that show. And
when you started, right?
When we started, 28 when it ended.
Yeah.
And I remember taking it very seriously. But I remember taking it seriously as in, this is my job. Right. What I don't remember taking seriously was the craft of acting. Because I didn't, and I've said this multiple times, this story about Eddie. How Eddie, you know, I was at work and I was joking around and I was, you know, sort of, you know, they would say cut and I would just like become Katee and get like all funny and make jokes and blah, blah, blah. And like, just like, you know, you guys have seen it now, talk a mile a minute. Yeah. And then when they said action, I would just be the character or like do that, pretend to be the character. And Eddie said to me one day, we were doing a scene in season 1, episode 4, where I come to him and I tell him that I'm responsible for his son, Zach's death. Yeah. And he yells at Starbuck, tells her to get out of his office. And basically, from an adoptive daughter standpoint, is like almost like disowning her. He's like, get out. And I was like doing my normal Katee thing and like, you know, joking around and this, that, and the other. And Eddie pulled me aside and he said, if you really focused, if you really, really tried, you'd be pretty good. And I was like, my ego was like, what do you mean? Yeah. Pretty good. Yeah. I got hired. But that young kid in me was like, oh crap, let me try this. Right. And I took him very seriously. And he said to me, listen, I know you haven't studied. Listen to the words that I'm saying to you. Listen to what the commander is saying to Starbuck. Put yourself in her shoes and go try it again. Stay focused. Yeah. Stop fucking around. And I was like, okay. So I went out and like was like, okay, I'm really gonna do it. I'm gonna listen. Sure. And I was so caught up in the moment in this character that when I walked out of the room, I started sobbing and like covered my head because I felt her pain. But it was the first time I'd ever really acted.
But you just answered your own question. You know that, right? You said like you just answered your own question when you said Sam. It's amazing that Sam said that I was the professional one. Someone who wasn't professional would have said to Eddie, "Yeah, sure, okay, whatever," and then just continue to do whatever you were doing. The professional said, "No, that made a lot of sense. I'm going to listen," and then you listened and you became better and you got more jobs out of it. So that's what Sam was talking about.
Sure. Yes, you're right. I guess. Yeah. I mean, looking back 20 years ago.
And you treated it like your job.
I did care. I wanted to succeed very badly. Very badly. And I thought that I was because I was. But Eddie saw something in me, as did Richard Dreyfuss. We've talked about that.
Yeah.
You know, when people see something in you, they tell you, they impart wisdom. They give you these tools to be more successful. And if you really take them to heart, you become better at what you're doing because everyone's just trying to help.
Well, that was that conversation that you guys, Sam, and you had about that, about how Sam was about Juilliard, right? About how he was, the way that they would talk to children, the way they talk to kids, and how that made him nuts, and like those types of things. But you could just see the way he broke down your conversation that you guys were having, of the way that you both. It's funny, even within that conversation, as just two friends talking, you could see the two professionals. Also, the way what you just talked about, the listening. Oh, wait a minute, what did you just say there? Wait, Ron Moore said what to you? And then it was like, but it was fun. It was a really fun interview with Sam, and it was a fun conversation. And I'm glad that you did it.
Yeah, me too. Well, I hope that everyone got something out of it. You know, I think that Sam would have a very wonderful conversation with Quan about pit bulls, you know, because Sam is such a pit lover, and so is Quan. And the fact that he got in a bathtub with a pit, like the second he rescued it, is like, he's lucky he didn't come out of there minus an arm.
It doesn't surprise me though with that guy. Like if Brett and I tried to do that, we'd be dead. Yeah. Like there's something with Sam. It's just like this. They just can read that kind of energy, and it's like, I could see that. Like when he was telling the stories about the dogs, I was like, that's on brand.
It does make sense. Yeah, it really is. He's got such a calm, serious, sort of nature to himself, and animals pick up on that. And I'm sure his dog
worships him.
Knew he was safe.
Yeah, and worships him probably.
Probably.
But it was good. It was a good episode.
It was a good episode. I hope you guys liked it. Let us know what you thought. Leave your comments. Go follow Sam on social media. He's so much fun. He's so interesting. He's such a diverse person, and he's into so many different things. And I hope that some people who did know of him know more now. And I hope that people that didn't know who he was, are as big a fans as we are. Yeah, and follow his work for sure. And then next week we got a really talk about dogs. Got a big episode next week. We have a huge episode next week. I have mentioned Quan Stewart a couple times in this episode just because it was such a fun conversation. But if you're an animal lover, make sure to check out next week with Dr. Quan Stewart. Yeah, and make sure if you go over to Apple Podcasts, Spotify. I'm so happy that we're back. We came back with Glenn Howerton, and then the follow-up episode, and now Sam. We have so many great episodes coming out, and I think that maybe you've announced all the guests that we have coming up, whether we did a social video for that or not. We may or may not. Who knows? I don't know. Who knows? We're back, and there's so many new ways to follow and listen and support the show. Yep. So find us. Thanks for listening to In Hindsight with Sam Witwer. I'm Katee Sackhoff. And I'm me. Bye. Bye. Blah, blah, blah. Okay,